Research Publications and DAVIET Jalandhar with collaboration with Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. Now I would like to request DAVIET's torchbearer, leader and a versatile personality, Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar on dais to deliver his inaugural speech.
A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The chief guest of the day, Shri R.K. Gupta ji, member, DAV College Managing Committee, New Delhi, learned colleagues, professors, registrar, faculty, and delegates to this great 2 days conference at NTU, which has been organized by the three parties: Nanyang Technological University, DAV Institute of Engineering and Technology, JALANDHAR, and IRP. When we were thinking of planning this event, we had a couple of things in mind. The first thing was that let's try to create a platform and connect with the overseas communities where the researchers can deliberate over upcoming avenues in the field of research, particularly in the field of science, technology, and engineering, and management, of course. Now, when the researchers, they all come from different parts of the world, it's not only about sharing your research findings, it's also about collaborating with each one of us. We are into a world of collaborations. Nobody can survive and exist in isolation. If we think today that we alone can handle the challenges being faced in the field of research, it's probably not possible until and unless we are in a position to collaborate with our counterparts in different parts of the world. We probably cannot do as better if we think of doing it on our own. It's a great honor for the institution and the entire DAV fraternity to have hosted this event into this prestigious University of Singapore. For the information of those who are new to the name of DAV institutions, I would like to share that we in India are one of the largest education sector in the country, having more than 900 educational institutions in India and abroad. And some of you who are from Singapore, and if you are not aware, we have a DAV school in Singapore as well. And it's right opposite to Mustafa in Little India in Singapore. The school education system in Singapore is such that the people who are non-natives of Singapore, they have to take one subject in languages in the school as well into their native language. Chinese is being taught in Singapore, and so is Hindi and Malay and Tamil here. And anybody in Singapore, if you have looking for learning Hindi, DAV school is the one which is providing service here in Singapore. So once again, I welcome all of you to this 2 days conference, and especially I am obliged and very thankful to Shri R.K. Gupta ji, who very kindly consented to be the chief guest. He's based out of Singapore, and he's here with us to address all of us as a chief guest of this 2 days conference. So once again, I welcome you all to this 2 days conference. And I wish the participants and the delegates the very best, and I'm sure you will all be collaborating with each other. The gains of the conference can only be sustained. So if after leaving Singapore also you are able to collaborate and sustain your relations with each other, let's create a network where we can say that all the people from the 9 nations, in this conference we have representation of 9 countries, and there are more than 76 people who have registered from the various parts of the world for this prestigious conference. So if we are able to integrate these 76 people from different countries and create a different family of these 76 people who are always ready to collaborate and integrate with each other, I think the conference does its purpose to network the people of 9 nations and 76 people. I wish you all the best for the 2 days, and welcome once again.
Thank you very much, sir. We would like to thank our Chief Patron, Honorable Dr. Poonam Suri, President, DAV College Managing Committee, New Delhi. Our conference chairs, Professor Dr. Ma Mode, School of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, NTU, Singapore, and Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar, Principal, DAVIET, Jalandhar. We also like to thank Mr. Chetan Sikka, President, Innovative Research Publication, and Dr. Sudhir Sharma, Dean, RIC and Convener, DAVIET, Jalandhar, and all the program chairs, organizing staff, and the members of the program committee for their work. Now I would like to call Dr. Sudhir Sharma, Convener of this conference, Dean, RIC and HOD Electrical Department, DAVIET, Jalandhar, to say a few words about conference.
Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to the opening of the International Interdisciplinary Conference on Science, Technology, Engineering, Management, Pharmacy and Humanities at the name STEMPH'17. This is the first one of the new series of academic initiatives of DAV Institute of Engineering and Technology that is organizing joint international conferences to explore how technology could be effectively utilized in teaching, learning, educational and in administration areas. For many years, DAV Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jalandhar has been organizing conferences in similar areas, but this is the first of its kind initiative taken by organizing a joint international conference with IRP and NTU, Singapore. I am delighted to see that 3 institutions have collaborated to capitalize their strengths and have come up with the commitment of promoting effective use of technology in the diverse mode of education. If you take a look at the conference program, you will agree that the inaugural conference is going to be a busy and a productive. There is a lot to offer for 2 days event. I would take this opportunity to thank the conference organizing committee for their diligent work. I would also like to thank the participants, especially those of you coming from the different countries, for joining us and sharing your valuable experience and ideas. It is essential to bring together the experts in the field of technology, in the education, so that we can realize together the potential of all the disciplines. This conference certainly will be a wonderful addition to the calendar of activities of our institute. I hope that all of you will enjoy the conference, and I wish all our visitors from all over the world will have a very pleasant stay in Singapore. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call Dr. Ahmedan, Professor and Dean from UMS Dubai, to deliver his keynote speech.
Good morning, everybody. Well, actually, I don't know how to say good morning, or is it evening, or is it night? For some of you, or for someone like me, it's still night. And I've been traveling for something like 15 hours now. I've just arrived. So I'd like to welcome everybody and all of you, and it's my deep appreciation that you are all attending now for my speech, which is not going to exceed 25 minutes, 20-25 minutes. I will try to make it less, because I know you have a very long day. Okay, so first I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Dean Abu Lanin. I'm the Dean of the College of Tourism, UMS. UMS stands for University of Modern Sciences in Dubai. I'm now based in Dubai, but I'm originally coming from Egypt. So I am Egyptian. So, well, I just wanted to make a surprise for my friend, Mr. Chitan, because we know each other now for something like 3 years. We have already started all together. So I'm actually trying humbly and modestly to start a research project to create, or let's say innovate a theory in the field of tourism. Okay, so I hope that this would be the right start for such an idea, and I hope that I would rather try to continue, and maybe some of you can also be members of that research team that could be helpful or doing or participating in that kind of research project. The idea is about a new theory of tourist experience, that is the miraculous tourism type. Well, let me try to test your knowledge about tourism. What are the main types of tourism? What are the main, I'm speaking about the purpose of traveling. What are the main purposes for traveling?
Recent tourism in India is medical tourism. It is gaining a lot of,
Exactly. You're even so recent,
Yeah.
because medical tourism is now more developing and more progressing. But let's speak about more traditional types of
Business tourism.
business-wise. That's right. Okay. What else? Cultural, visiting museums and maybe temples, tombs and so on and so forth. Monuments as well. Yeah. So what else? educational, you're also recent. So that means that you're somehow in the field, or you know a lot about it. So I'm also starting from the recent ones. The ecotourism, which is related to natural tourist attractions, the wilderness kind of tourism, the adventure tourism, till we reach the pleasure, business, nature, cultural, social, which are the traditional kinds of tourism in terms of purposes or types. That's what we call in our language, or in our tourism language, the tourism types. So we have also some weird or strange kinds of or types of tourism. Like, for example, staying under the sea, which is not really diving, it's staying. It's the whole stay would be under the sea, which is really strange. Even it was really strange for me when I first read about it. That you spend most of your program under the sea, and the Maldives is so famous for that. And even sometimes they held actually their cabinet or ministerial kind of meetings underwater. So now they are so much improved and developed about that. That's an idea about what we are talking about. Reality travel. So many of us, when we travel, we don't live the reality of the countries we are living, we are visiting. But sometimes some programs are based on letting you go and visit the slums, the most populated areas, the mostly condensed areas, I mean the back areas of the countries or the destinations. So in that case, it would be of some interest to some of the tourists. Exactly like that. These are places that could be hidden from tourists. That shouldn't, when we feel, well, traditionally speaking, or when I used to be a tour guide or a tour operator myself, and I'm coming from the industry. I started the other way around. I started from the industry, and then I became academic. So that's how it goes. So, safe, danger, tourism. Actually, when you say safe and danger at the same time, you feel that it's contradicting. Well, it is the, well, of course, we're not going to let our tourists face some danger, okay? But this is one of the excursion, one of the adventures that they would like to do, but in a safe way. So it's safe danger, kind of. So people in that kind of type could also visit some areas, some dangerous areas, some areas that have some kind of war, some kind of struggles, clashes, and they would enjoy being there and involved in such activities. Okay? Of course, they would be like photographers. When they attend such incidents, they would be away from the real danger, so that they are almost unsafe. Well, the protest tourism, which is so famous in the United States of America, actually, in USA, they let the tourists get involved in their protests according to their concepts and approaches. If you feel that you are pro that kind of protest and that kind of issue that is raised during that protest, or you can join that kind of, which is enjoyable to some people somehow. Okay. Scare tourism. This is USA and Canada again. So they just let you enjoy as much as you are scared. You enjoy your tour and you enjoy your visit. Well, all these atomic tourism, which is visiting the eras, the atomic era places where some we call it the atomic age actually, or some areas that were endangered by some atomic problems. So that is really strange again and weird. All these weird and strange types of tourism actually let me think of why don't we also try to create and innovate and add a type of tourism that could be a part of what should be or could be taught to students later, and could be like a theory that people, other professors and other scholars could develop and improve in the near future. I will keep that and we will discuss it all together. Okay. With the atomic stop somehow. Okay. Now back to normal. Okay. The token tourism, which is about two things actually. One, on one hand, is dedicated to the visits of the Lord of the Rings, I mean like the fiction that we all know about. And on the other hand is visiting the site of importance mentioned in the film's book. So it's visiting the real sceneries that were apparent or were depicted in one or the other of the movies that we all watch. So visiting the real places or the real areas is one of the strange kinds of or types of tourism. Again, dark tourism. Dark tourism is very important because this is relating so many types together. Dark tourism is involving involving the tourists actually in some of the places, incidents that is related, unfortunately, to disaster, tragedy, death, and even afterlife, life and afterlife. Okay, the locations where multiple deaths took place are high on the agenda of tourists. This is like, for example, areas that were so famous for wars around the world. People would feel so interested to do that. Drug tourism, well, we don't want to speak too much about that, but it's already there. And if you have been to Amsterdam in Netherlands, Holland, okay, you would know what I'm talking about. Okay, the ghetto tourism, which is about visiting the areas where the tourists actually would feel curious about visiting the places and areas where specific genre of music and lifestyle, like hip-hop, for example, took place or started. Okay, so people would feel that they are happy to visit the house of Michael Jackson, for example, the areas where hip-hops were like started or generated. That could be one of their interests. Shark tourism, playing with the sharks. Don't ever play with a shark. Well, in Sharm el-Sheikh, for example, in Egypt, they say, well, never try to play with the sharks. But it's enjoyable somehow when you go and try to feel the danger. So it's all about danger. So why should we like feel that this is, well, these are strange, but at the same time they are a bit dangerous? Okay. Halal tourism, I feel that our friend from Turkey can tell us more about that, because they are pioneers in that kind of tourism. And in Sharjah, in UAE, United Arab Emirates, also they have tried to get some steps. Halal tourism is a kind or a type of tourism which is related more to the Islamic culture, where you're not allowed to drink, for example, alcohols, and it's somehow religious based, and you do not, for example, eat pork or pigs. So in that case, it's not even like exclusive for Muslims, because actually sometimes you feel that I have been working with so many tourists who are not Muslims, but they feel that when they go, for example, to the safari or to the trekking for a whole week, why don't we enjoy or we practice being away from such things? Let's give it a try. Even sometimes they come to such kind of programs to get treated of addiction to alcohols, addiction to some drugs, whatever. So the part of the program, part of the treatment program is to go away from these things and to keep away from such things. Okay, war tourism, which is almost the same like dark tourism we talked about, or the kind of danger tourism. Suicide tourism, which is something that nobody would ever feel that they are going to practice any time, because it's a one-way ticket. So every one of us is like buying a round trip. But this is the only type of tourism where people buy one-way ticket. It's only one-way ticket, and then they will never go back. Okay? We don't know where they would go, but actually they would never go back to they would never return. It's a no return. Okay? And they enjoy it. They feel that this is type of tourism. I don't know why, I don't know how, anyhow, but it's really strange. But before I move on to the examples of miraculous kind of tourism, what do you think of the word itself, miraculous? Because I'm coming from a language background. My bachelor was in English language and literature from Cairo University. And then I moved on to study tourism and get master and PhD or whatever. So miraculous is the right way to speak about something different in tourism. We'll discuss together about the, the definition of such a type. But first, which one do you prefer? I'm talking about kind of tourism that is providing something exceptional, dazzling, okay, fascinating, and impressive. It's glamorous also. So, do you prefer that we use the word dazzling, specific, impressive, fascinating, or glamorous, or maybe miraculous would be better to be used?
Yes, because miracles is something which is beyond imagination, all of dreams.
Exactly.
Miracles happen and only God come and miracle happens. So miraculous
Thank
is
you.
wonderful.
Thank you very much. That's a good idea. You're almost reading my mind. Actually, when I started looking for the right word, I used the dictionary. And when I used the dictionary, I found that dazzling means it's glamorous, fascinating, impressive, and they are all synonyms to each other. Okay? But miraculous combines and composes and actually collects all of them. Okay? When it is miraculous, it should be dazzling, it should be fascinating, impressive, and glamorous.
It is also something like that you are buying society tourism, you are considering society and you come back suddenly with a return ticket, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And to some extent, actually, I found out while starting to do that research project, actually, I found out that this type of tourism is even solving some of the problems and the negative impacts that we are all suffering from when we study tourism. When you study tourism, you find that there are so many negative impacts of tourism on the social level, cultural level, economical level, political level. So that one is even solving some of these problems we are going to talk about right now. So we all agree that miraculous is, or is there any kind of objection? Objection? Any objection? Miraculous is the word? Okay? All right. Should we get copyright on it? Okay. All right. Then, examples. Have you been to UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Al Ain, Sharjah? You haven't?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The gentleman. So, what was the most amazing, dazzling, fascinating, and of course, Chitan, yeah, and glamorous thing? So, please.
The skating ring in the Nile.
Exactly, exactly. So it was really something that everybody would feel, wow, it's skating in Dubai while it is almost like 55 degrees in summer, okay, or even more sometimes. So it's really amazing. And the huge things. Well, actually, the most important thing about, I started studying the UAE market or destination. And I found out that they are using the superlative kind or language all the time. The best, the tallest, the biggest, the highest. You see? It's not just higher than whatever in another place. The brand new. So they are using even sometimes the word brand new when they think about adding one more tourist attraction to the destination. So that was really astonishing to me, because they are trying to provide, or they are already providing, a brand new type of tourism, while they don't really know that they are providing the whole world with that kind of tourism. So it's time now to tell them that you are providing the world with that kind. Look at the Dubai Mall. Over 13 million square feet of food. Okay, equivalent in size to more than 50 football courts of fields. 50, can you imagine 50 football courts or fields? It's very huge. It is the hugest, or the most huge one. Dubai Mall has a total internal floor area of 5 million square feet. Can you imagine? Then, leasable space of 3.77 million square feet. It also has 250 room luxury hotel, 22 cinemas or cinema screens, plus 120 restaurants and cafes. The mall has over 14,000 parking space. 14,000 parking space. Okay? And then across three car parks with valet service and whatever. Okay? So they are competing themselves. Because they started with the Emirate, with the Mall of the Emirate, okay? And then they started saying, why don't we make a bigger one, a greater one, a better one, okay? They did that. And then they started with Burj Khalifa, which is the highest now, the highest building all over the world. And now they are trying to make another one which is even more higher, right? Which is even higher than that one. Okay, they are competing themselves. Okay, you see, so that's the idea behind that kind of type of tourism. The mall got 5 awards. 2 awards at the Retail Future Project Awards, and Dubai Mall brochure collected 3 awards at the Summit Creative Award. So even they are trying to get the utmost out of it. Even the brochure is the best. Even the furniture is the best. Even the I don't really know what to say and what to leave. Actually, they are trying to be the best in everything. Okay, I'm not actually promoting for Dubai, but that is the case study. I'm actually, because there are so many things around the world, but in condensed like that in one place, I have never seen. Okay. Okay. So it is again. Speaking about the skating and the aquarium, it is the world's largest acrylic panel or aquarium inside Dubai Mall, okay, with the dimension of so and so. But still, it is the world's 15th largest mall with gross whatever. Okay, so again, I'm just trying to emphasize the words in superlative: largest, best, whatever. Not even better, but it should be the. It records actually more than 5 million visitors in the month. 5 million per month. Okay, and that was 2010. Let's look at a bit recent. 2011, it was the world's most visited, again, most visited, okay, shopping and leisure destination and attraction, with 56 million visitors. Can you imagine? Okay, in a country that the whole population of this country, can you imagine how many people are living in UAE? The nationals, the Emiratis, the original people of the country are not exceeding 1 million something. Okay, and even the expatriates are something like 4 million, something like that. So they are all together like 5 million. Okay, at the same time they receive 56 million visitors to one of the attractions. It's only one of the attractions, I mean, one, including, of course, repetitive, frequent visitors. 2012, they continued to be the world's most visited shopping with 65 million visitors. And they are even increasing. The United Arab Emirates actually receives something like 14 to 15 million foreign tourists every year. So when we say that 65 million visitors, it means that we have like frequent visitors who are going every weekend to go to Dubai Mall. Okay? Dubai Water Canal, that's one of the most amazing approaches or projects. They are trying to connect the business bay with the Persian Gulf, with Safa Park and Jumeirah. These are areas that were not connected by means of canal or water before. Okay, the Skydive Dubai, of course you've heard about it, when you can jump and try to fly, which is something amazing, of course, that could be a nice experience. The archipelago, the world island. The world islands. They made some islands. If you can try to imagine, these islands could make the shape of the map of the world, or the world map. Okay? Okay, so they have also Palm Jumeirah and Palm Deira. The world islands actually is an artificial archipelago of the world map. It has something like 300 islands composing different places and areas of the whole world. 300. Okay, the Palm Islands. They made islands in the Gulf, in the Persian Gulf, that takes the shape of a palm, which is also amazing, and it has also the most luxurious hotel all over the world, which is what's the name of that hotel? The most luxurious one on the palm. No. Atlantis. these are the bad miners. Well, I'm still not settled on a definition, but actually when you make a definition about tourism, actually it's very difficult, because still no consensus on the definition of tourism among the researchers, and there are lack of theories in tourism. It's a kind of brand new science, so we still are conceptualizing, and we are still trying to find the right one. The theory of miraculous tourism is, well, as a matter of fact, as I told you, it's a kind of tourism that is avoiding and trying to solve all the impacts and negative impacts that happen by means of other times. Okay? Chetan is saying that time is up, and I hope that there is only one or two things. Classification, the thinking. So when we are trying to conceptualize about that kind of type of tourism, we found out that it is thinking outside the box. It's thinking of something that is unique and different, innovative and creative. It's creating bouquets of tourism product. It's creating tourist attraction. It's not depending on the one's natural, man-made, or whatever monuments that were already there. It's visiting the places of tourism product that differ from yours, so different from the traditional ones. That think about the current and past. So you are relating the past, the present, and the future. Thinking of the different, thinking of the strange. Okay, avoiding the seasonality. So when you think of these attractions, no seasonality. You can come and visit summer, winter, spring, whenever, wherever you want. Okay, so it's up to you. Okay, it's a long-term market development. So it's giving opportunity for the market to develop on long term. Cooperative kind of nature for the competition. So all these attractions can cooperate together, do not compete each other. They cooperate together in order to promote for the, for tourism in that destination. Okay, and high fixed cost, of course, because it's very luxurious. Single use of natural assets. So when you use the natural assets, you are not using the unnatural assets as if they are the tourist attraction itself. You are building on them. Okay? I'm sorry I took too much of your time, and I hope that inshallah will develop and improve that kind of project. Thanks to Chetan, I just wanted, as I told you, Mr. Chetan is, as I used to call him, the one-man army. He's doing almost, he has his own team, but he's doing almost everything by his own hand. So I hope that this surprise will please him, and to start from here and to start from you as the audience, that starting that kind of research project and starting to be or to have or to develop that one. And I hope that some of you can also participate. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to give this book about one of the attractions I was telling you to my dear friends. Gift. Thank you. Yes. But this one is in Arabic. I hope that you will be able to. Well, it doesn't matter actually, because it tells about the festival, the light festival. It's one of the innovations that I was telling you about. It is the light festival. They start every summer, actually making different portraits by means of light, by using the light. Actually, these are not color. These are only lights. Yeah, lighting effect, exactly. Okay. So I hope that you will.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon our today's two-day International Interdisciplinary Conference STEMPH 2017, Science, Technology, Engineering, Management, Pharmacy and Humanities, organized by DAVIET Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jalandhar, and Innovative Research Publication in collaboration with Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. This conference is aimed at discussing with all of you the wide range of problems encountered in the present and future high technologies. It is organized to gather members of all international community scientists so that the researchers from all around the world can present their leading edge work, and expanding our community knowledge and insight into the significant challenges currently being addressed in this research. The proceeding records the fully referred papers that are going to be presented today in this conference. The main conference theme and tracks are computer science, information technology, electronics, electrical engineering, civil, business, economics, management, and pharmacy. The main goal of these events is to provide international scientific forum for exchange of new ideas in the number of fields that interact in depth through the discussion with their peers around the world. The conference gathered technical research submissions related to all aspects of major conferences, themes and tracks. The program has been structured to favor the interaction among the attendees coming from the many diverse horizons, scientifically, geographically, from the academic and from industry. We would like to thank the program chair, organization, staff, and the members of the program committee for their work. Thank also goes to the editor for their wonderful editorial service to this proceeding. We are grateful to all those who have contributed to the success of this conference. We hope that all participants and other interested readers benefit from the proceeding and also find it stimulating in the process. Finally, we would like to wish you a success in your technical presentation and social network. So now we are going to start with our session. First, I would like to call Dr. Alican from Turkey.
Hello everyone, my name is Alican Özselvacı. I'm a researcher at the Nanyang Technological University. I'm working under the Professor Ma. And today I'm going to deliver my presentation on behalf of Professor Ma. And I would like to talk about the basics of 5G wireless communication, the next generation of the wireless communication. And you know, now we are using the 4G. The next generation will be the 5G. And this is my outline. I'm going to talk about. I'm going to explain brief information about all generations, and then I will explain what is actually the 5G, and then I'm going to explain the new technologies as a foundation for 5G. And then I will give brief information about what we do with Professor Ma, and then I will deliver my conclusion. Every new generation of wireless networks deliver faster speed and more functionality to our smartphone and devices. If I begin with the 4G, with 1G, first generation brought us very first cell phone, and the 2G let us text at the first time, and then the 3G brought us to online, and the 4G delivered the speed that we enjoy today. But as more users come online, and that's why the 4G network's capability is going to reach about its capability. And when the more users want more data, for their smartphone and devices. Therefore, now we are headed towards the 5G, the next generation of wireless communication. And 5G will be able to handle 1,000 times more traffic than the 4G networks, and it will be faster up to 10 times than the 4G LTE. LTE speed is around 450 megabytes per second. And also, 5G brings the low latency, around 1 millimeter per second, and then it will bring the also energy efficiency up to 90%, and then it will bring more bandwidth for everyone. And before I'm going and proceed, I want to show an example. What's low latency? This example is from the Nokia. Are you hearing or not? Okay. So,
So in this demonstration, with 4G today, there's higher latency in the network. So this is the amount of time it takes to transmit data from the device to the network and back again. With 5G, that communication path will allow you to communicate much quicker, and you'll be able to control machines. So in this demonstration here today, we have this camera, which is recording the position of this ball on this plate. And then this position is recorded by a mobile edge cloud computing environment that then is intelligently controlling these robots, sending them the commands across the network to balance this ball on the plate. In this first demonstration, you can see on the screen here behind me, we're showing the current latency of what would be a 4G network. It's around 90 to 100 milliseconds. And on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see this line move as we move the ball on the plate. So what I'm going to do is move this ball right now, and we can see the oscillations here tracked on this graph and how long it takes for the robots to collaborate with each other to get the information they need to balance the ball on the plate. And then we're going to switch into 5G mode. And we can see on this graph here that we've now gone from around 90 milliseconds to around 3 milliseconds, so much, much lower latency in the network. And I'm going to do exactly the same again. And we can see that we only took one oscillation there to correct the ball. So you can see how the reduction of the latency of the network improves the communication between the machines, which is critical for future networks. I think for society, for humanity as a whole, what we're going to see is a transformation of our existing technologies to automate everything. So you can imagine healthcare, automotive, or in the mining industry, or in other areas that are very critical or dangerous for humans. We can actually send a machine in and actually control them remotely over a 5G wireless network because of that low latency in the network. So a huge transformation in the way we utilize our network and what we're able to control and do with our machines.
As I said, that the 5G will be foundation for virtual reality autonomous driving, as you see in the example, and then in terms of things and the other stuff that we cannot imagine yet. But what is actually 5G is? And if you read this sentence from the John Smith, Vice President of Engineering at Qualcomm, he says perhaps the most exciting thing about 5G is that we are designing a new wireless network fabric, unlocking potential for a host services that we haven't even imagined yet. And the truth is, experts can tell what 5G actually is, because they don't even know yet. And but right now there are 5 brand new technologies emerging as a foundation of 5G. What is these five new technologies? First one is the millimeter wave. Second one is smart cell networks. The third one is massive MIMO, and the fourth one is beamforming, and the last one is full duplex. Our first, and these are the companies and institutions that involve to develop the 5G. There are many companies, and Intel and Qualcomm produce chipsets for the 5G, and many universities and many telecommunication companies, and the IEEE Spectrum and the European Commission and FCC in America. And our first technology is the millimeter waves. Our smartphone, our electronic devices in our home and our offices use very specific frequency on the radio frequency spectrum, and those fall under the 6 gigahertz. But today, this frequency spectrum are getting more crowded, because as more devices coming online, and we are going to start to see more slower services and dropped connections. And the solution is the solution is open up new spectrum on the radio frequency spectrum, and these fall between the 30 gigahertz and the 300 gigahertz. And researchers have experimenting broadcasting on between these two spectrum, the frequency spectrum, and but there's a catch for this spectrum, for these millimeter waves. These millimeter waves cannot travel well through the building or other obstacles, and they tend to be observed by the plants and the rain. And to solve this problem, to get around this problem, we need the technology number 2, the small cell networks. Today, wireless networks rely on very large, high-powered towers to broadcast their signals over the long distances. But remember, the millimeter waves cannot travel through the obstacles and the buildings, which means if you move behind one obstacle, you are going to lose your signal. Smart cell networks will solve this problem by using thousands low-powered small base stations. These base stations will be closer to each other than the traditional towers, and forming a sort of relay team to transmit the signals around the obstacles. This will be useful, especially when we are in the cities and as we moved around the obstacles. Let's say our smartphone will automatically switch to a new base station by this way, and allowing us to keep our connection. And our next technology for 5G is the massive MIMO. MIMO stands for multiple input, multiple output. And today 4G base stations have 1,000 ports for antennas that handle the all cellular traffic today, but Massive MIMO will handle will support around 1,000 ports for antennas. That means the network capacity will increase by factor of 22 or more according to today's networks.
Continuously in the afternoon. Now this is not the time for you to take photos as well. After that, we have the lunch. Okay.
And just once again, I would like to ask Dr. Rajput to conclude the session also, so we can announce the best paper also. Please, sir.
Thank you, Chetan sir. First, a very good morning to all the delegates, participants of the conference. Myself, Dr. P.S. Rajput, Professor and OSD from Sagar Group of Institutions, Bhopal, India, was session chair of this technical session. This session was very interesting, knowledge sharing and learning experience from everyone. I am sure everyone has taken advantage from the deliberation of all participants. Now, I will summarize the session. Total 9 management papers are presented in this session. Our first paper was by Chun Yu T. Title is Cost Effectiveness Analysis of Oral Cavity Cancer in Taiwan. Next paper is Dr. Anu Sahi on the title Crowdfunding. Next paper by Dr. Rekha Bharadwaj. Title is Emerging Trend in English Literature 20th and 21st Century. Finally, I conclude this session by saying that such type of conference should be organized very frequently as they are platform where researcher and academician they share views, ideas and experience, and outcome of this will help in giving new insight for the professional. I congratulate to all the participants for the wonderful deliberation. Now all paper is good, but shall we only final one paper. Now prize goes to management category research paper Dr. Anu Sahi, crowdfunding. So
we request Dr. Manoj to come here and we can
illegally, we can say like that. So we take around 300 respondents from School of Pharmacy, Institut Teknologi Bandung, non-pharmacy students and public population, and then we share with them questionnaire that they have to fill, and then after that we validate the questionnaire first, and then we use the statistical program to analyze the data. From here you can see that from all the respondents, mostly graduated from senior high school, and then also some of them already graduated from bachelor degree, and some of them higher in comparison with others. And this one also society awareness to the potassium bromide. Unfortunately, pharmacy student actually higher than the others, but still in low percentage. So it means the student from pharmacy still need to learn about the hazardous of the potassium bromide. And this is the total conclusion. So you can see from here, the pharmaceutical student actually showed a higher level knowledge in comparison to other, but still the information for potassium bromide is insignificant because most of them don't aware about the hazardous from the potassium bromide. So conclusion, according to the study, background in pharmacy suggests to affect the level of knowledge in food additive. Moreover, it is advised to improve education relating food additive, especially the potassium bromide, to show its hazardous. These are the reference. Thank you for your attention. And before that, my dean asked me to introduce to you that we will have the second Bandung International Conference. So we will have 70th birthday this year in October 5 and 6. So please come to Bandung and then visit Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Saeed Samed. I'm working as an assistant professor at the E-Health Research Unit at the Faculty of Medicine, Memorial University in Canada. And my talk is about secure biometric statistical analysis method on health data. So the main idea is that we have different type of statistical analysis methods. A set of important parts of this type of methods are bivariate statistical methods that are very popular and used in different type of health research and related areas. And on the other hand, usually nowadays we have data stored and generated in different jurisdictions and different places, such as different hospitals, different health organizations. Even, for example, in Canada, we have different provinces, and every province has its own rules and privacy acts. So health data nowadays is very sensitive. That's why different organizations have different rules and acts to preserve their own information that are very sensitive individual health information. So by gathering all these facts together, we reach to have some type of secure methods to make sure that individual health information will not be released to some unauthorized people. So as an outline, first, as I mentioned, the main motivation of this work, and then I talk about the background and the secure building blocks that we propose to use these building blocks inside the statistical analysis method in this work for bivariate statistical analysis method. And then I will go to the details of the secure protocols for this type of computation, and I show the experimental results that we have by using these type of protocols and procedures on real health data, and finally by conclusion and future work and show the references, conclude by your question and possible answer. So the main motivation, as I mentioned, electronic health information, or EHI, is a very high demanding resource for every different type of researchers, and also we have different type of privacy acts that prevents direct access to the information by different parties. So what would be the solutions? We have different type of privacy and security approaches. We have the identification method, that we de-identify data before releasing to the researchers or before releasing to the data users. We have some type of on-site analysis and also some limited remote access. For example, in some universities or research area, you have a separate place to propose and provide these different type of health information to the data users. For example, students, professors, researchers. But they need different type of security and background checks. For example, oath of confidentiality, or for example, for the identification, they de-identify data, and in many situations, health data are very sensitive, and when you de-identify, they don't have any utilization. That's why each of these type of solutions have some type of issues. For instance, for de-identification, first of all, they don't have enough utility. Second of all, if you integrate the sensitive information that are de-identified with some public information that are available to everybody, then you are be able to re-identify the data and therefore breach the security and privacy of the data. Therefore, we use different approaches, which is secure computation method. In this type of approach, we use different type of cryptography and security methods and some type of mathematical operations such as oblivious information transformation to apply the privacy preserving on different type of statistical method on health data. So as a background, as I mentioned, we have two main natural approaches for privacy preserving. The first one is the identification or anonymization. For example, we use k-anonymity, or we use swapping data to de-identify data. We use randomization or some type of perturbation. But at the end of the day, we have some type of issues for the accuracy of the final information. So the main trade-off in anonymization is between privacy and accuracy. This means that if we want to have more accurate final result, we need to bring down the level of privacy. And in health information, because the privacy is very sensitive, therefore maybe it's not a good idea to use this type of approach. The second approach that we use in our protocol is secure computation. In this way, we use cryptography and some mathematical operation to do encryption and decryption. So the main idea is that we encrypt the data as a data owner, and data users, without accessing to the real information, do the mathematical operation on the encrypted information, and then finally decrypt the final result, not the individual result. Therefore, we can guarantee the privacy of the information at the end of the day. So we have different type of examples. For example, secure sum and multiplication that we use inside this protocol. We use secure comparison, secure dot product, and different type of mathematical operation. So the main trade-off in this approach, instead of privacy and accuracy, is between privacy and efficiency. So at the end of the day, we have the accurate final result, but because we use some type of mathematical operation and encryption decryption, we might have some type of efficiency issue. That's why we need to use a good hardware and good type of cryptography system to make sure that we have an efficient method to preserve the privacy. So in this work, we use secure computation, which was the second approach in our work. So what would be the building block that we use inside our protocol? The main idea comes from the cryptography and from homomorphic encryption, which is a public key encryption system. By having this type of homomorphic encryption, we are able to convert, for example, addition on the plain data to the multiplication on the encrypted data. This means that if we encrypt the informations and then multiply all the decrypted informations that are hidden, then the final result would be the addition of the plain data. This means that we just need to release the decrypted information to the data users. They can do all the mathematical operations they need and then finally decrypt that. So the main idea is that using homomorphic encryption, one of the crypto systems is ADA crypto system, and as I mentioned, we convert addition to multiplication. So by having this type of homomorphic encryption, you are able to have different type of secure computation. For example, in the first one, we convert the addition of some hidden information to the multiplication or vice versa. That are secure multi-party multiplication and addition. So these are some summary, not all the information that we have from the background. Using those type of building blocks, we want to apply it on some statistical bivariate statistical analysis method. Just give you an example for why we need bivariate statistical analysis method in health. The first example shows the association between usage of aspirin or some type of placebo type of drugs for heart attack to make sure what would be the association or odds ratio between using placebo and aspirin for preventing heart attack. For doing this type of research, normally we use odds ratio or confidence interval for odds ratio for having information at the end of the day to make sure which one is effective for heart attack. Or another example is to compute the relative risk for people that are smoker and non-smoker and the association of these with lung cancer and no lung cancer. So in here we use odds ratio, we need to use odds ratio and confidence interval. In this one we need relative risk. Also sometimes we need to have computation of positive predictive value or negative predictive value. Sometimes we need to compute the standard error to compute confidence interval. And also sometimes we need to compute true positive or true negative values. All of them are some type of bivariate statistical method. So in here, as we see the formula for odds ratio, for example, in here we want to know the association between flea bites and different type of lung diseases. And we have the formula for odds ratio, we have the formula for relative risk, and also standard error to finally compute confidence interval. What would be the security issue? For instance, we have two different hospitals or we have two different health organizations. None of them are allowed to exchange the individual information of different people. Therefore, they need to have some type of secure protocols to, at the end, they only have the final result, for example, for odds ratio, for relative risk, or different type of bivariate statistical analysis method. So in here, for this contingency table that we saw at the top, if you see, we have the single information that in here we have the addition of two information. For example, the very first top left cell is A equal to A1 plus A2. This means that we have some records in hospital A1 and some records in hospital A2. None of them are allowed to exchange information, but they want to apply odds ratio or relative risk for different statistical methods at the end of the day. So, for instance, in here to compute odds ratio comes from the records from two hospitals. We need to compute this type of mathematical operation. Some parts belongs to hospital A or party A. Some information belongs to party 2 or hospital 2. By using secure multi-party addition, we convert every time. For example, in here we need to compute multiplication of A1 to D2, or for example, multiplication of A2 to D1. One part of the computation comes from one hospital, the other one comes from the another hospital. Therefore, by using secure multi-party multiplication, we convert it to multiplication, and then finally we separate all the information. One of them belongs to first party, the second one belongs to the second party. And therefore, they just need to multiply these two information to finally reach to the final value of odds ratio. We have almost the similar cases for relative risk and computation of the standard error of log odds ratio, and finally compute confidential. Sure. So, after that, by having some type of experimental results, we use failure crypto system, and we use encryption key 1024, or even we can use 2048, use secure building blocks, and then synthesize data set on 100,000 records to make sure that our system is efficient. This is a configuration of the protocol, and finally, first of all, these are the number of encryption and decryption and message exchange for different type of methods, and then this is the final result based on the timing that we need. For example, in here we need for relative risk between two parties for 100,000 record, we have 0.01 or about 0.02 seconds for this type of computation between two parties. And as a summary, as I mentioned, we propose some protocols for bivariate statistical analysis method, and the only result that is generated and released to these parties are final result. And for the future work, we are working on using this type of secure approach to apply on different type of statistical method, applying this type of methods on some softwares, for example SAS or some similar one, and working on coverage on different type of methods for different type of statistical and data mining methods. As an acknowledge, I should acknowledge NSEC Canada that provides different type of grants, and also RDC that is research funded for Newfoundland and Labrador. And this is a list of some of the references that we use inside the work. Thank you. And any questions from the audience?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
Whenever we use the bivariate statistics, there are always the chances that some of the, for example, smokers and non-smokers. In case I need to have one more category, then this won't be applicable.
This example is for 2x2 contingency table, but we can generalize, as you remember, we had summation equal to multiplication. So we can have two or more parties.
Can we apply chi-square also for the same?
Exactly. Actually, we already had, I already proposed chi-square and logistic regression in another conference last year. Yes.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yes, yes, we use public key encryption system, and the crypto system that we use is Paylier, which comes from RSA crypto system. Yes. We use 1024 and 2048 because nowadays, you know, even feed 512 or 1024 might be not be enough secure. That's why we switched to 2048 for the encryption key.
But if you decrypt the data, it will take more, require more time.
Yes, when we increase the level of security, as I mentioned, the main trade-off is between efficiency and privacy. That's why we need to use good hardware. For example, I use Mac with enough RAM to make sure that we have an efficiency. But nowadays, it is very cheap to use good hardware to overcome the efficiency of the system.
Thank you very much.
That of another. And the most important aspects in Forex are time series data and always fluctuate constantly. And in this paper, we are trying to forecast the currency exchange rate using combination of regression and optimization method. Okay. And what exchange rates that we try to forecast? In this study, we try to predict exchange rates of Chinese yen to US dollar, Swiss franc to US dollar, British pound to US dollar, and European euro to US dollar. We use time series data based on daily times, which are collected from January 2015 to December 2015. This is the forecasting model that we use to make the forecast. We use multiple linear regression or MLR and optimize the predictors using genetic algorithm. So we use the combination of this method. And this is the methodology. The first step, we collect the data, and after that we use the GA method to learn and to optimize the parameter of the MLR, and we get the data pattern and get the best fitness, and also after that we make the prediction in a certain time, and we make the visualization and result error. We get the result error. This is the time series data we use. In this study we get the data, we obtain the data from FXGD MetaGrader 4 software. This is the screenshot, and this is the model that we are going to optimize using the genetic algorithm. This is the model where variables x denotes currency value and variable theta 1 until theta n are going to be optimized with genetic algorithm. This is the process of the genetic algorithm optimization. This is the population of initialization. For initialization process, we set random number at range of 0 to 1 as shown in following figure. So in this result, we use 5 data, yeah? Chromosome representation with 5 gen value. And after that, we do the fitness evaluation. Evaluation is done using fitness function, which is a mean square error as shown in the following formula. We have y-axis and y. We subtract, and this is the model. Yeah, we have 5 data, and also we use 4 x variables. Now there we do the selection and crossover. After the fitness evaluation, the next step is selection and crossover. The selection is performed using rolled wheel method. After that, the crossover is shown in the following figure. We have the parents, and also we have the offspring. After that, we also do the mutation and elitism. Mutation is done by multiplying the value of each gen to random value from 0.1 to 1.1. Elitism or update is shown in the following figure. So this is the divisional fitness. After that, we do the sorting. After that, we do the elitism or update. Experimental result. This is the parameter that we use. Yeah. Number of gens, we use 3 up to 7. The position is 50. And also we use crossover probability, mutation probability, and stopping condition. This is the experimental result. The first figure is the result of ratio US dollar to Japanese yen. You can we also can see the graphic here. This is USD to CSF. This is converting to US dollar. This is, yeah, thank you. That's all my presentation.
questions?
That is very important topic, and this is the latest topic of speech processing. And the title of my research area is research paper is speaker segmentation using teaser, Kaiser, energy operator, and wavelet transform. These are the outlines, introduction, research background, existing system, objective, proposed system, results and discussion, finally conclusion and future scope. The goal of audio segmentation and classification is to segment the speech signal into speech, speaker, music and noises. Speaker segmentation segments the audio stream. Speaker segmentation detects the speaker change point in an audio recording of this conferences, lectures or meetings. And its application area includes speaker direction, captioning of TV shows and movies, speaker recognition, audio information retrieval, and audio clustering and indexing. In my research area, I have used the recordings of Dr. Subhash Chandra's show. In this picture, if you want to, in this picture, there are actually many speakers and an amount of speech signal. And if you want to extract the speech of Dr. Subhash Chandra only, then the process must go through direction. Direction, it means segmentation and segmentation followed by clustering. This is the recording, graphical representation of recording. And on seeing this graphical representation, two questions arises. First one is, where are speaker changes? And second question is, which segment belongs to same speaker? And again, solution is direction. My research is concerned with segmentation only, not clustering. And finally, when direction is used, segmentation followed by clustering, you can see that speech is complete audio recording is divided into segments, and further homogeneous segments are clustered together, represented by A, B, and C. Speaker segmentation algorithms are classified into three categories: model-based algorithms that require training data, metric-based algorithms that do not require any training data. Hybrid combines the both. Hybrid improves the results as compared to other one. But limitation is this one: when recordings are long, these algorithms becomes complex. In 1999, adaptive segmentation algorithm is proposed by R. Agarwal that uses discrete weighted transform. And again, there is a limitation. It uses uses signals of very short duration of few seconds only. So my objective is to implement an efficient compression technique that compresses the data efficiently. And second one is to detect the speaker change points by using two methods. In first method, I have used only teaser, Kaiser energy operator without DWT, that is discrete weighted transform. And second method is, in this case, 5-level discrete weighted transform is used with the teaser, Kaiser energy operator. Finally, both methods are compared. Teaser, Kaiser energy operator, this is a very good algorithm which is used to extract the features of speech signal due to its high amplitude and frequency resolution. This is more effective than traditional energy measure as it detects the important parts of speech in noisy environment. And this is the formula for finding teaser-caser energy operator output. This is a formula for extracting energy of signal. And output of this teaser-caser, there is actually certain changes in the output of teaser-caser energy operator. That certain changes detects the speaker change point, and that can be extracted. That can be extracted by using sliding window. A particular window is used that is converted into two parts, left side window and right side window. And left side, if the difference of energy of two windows are 0, it means that segment belongs to the same speaker. And if that difference is large, it means that segment belongs to a different speaker. One more algorithm, discrete wavelet transform. This is emerged in 1980s and being used in to solve the engineering problems in 1990s. This is the enhanced form of short-time Fourier transform, and discrete wavelet transform decomposes the audio stream into two equal parts, low frequency component with high scale known as approximation, and high frequency component with low scale known as detail. And this can be graphically represented like this. This is original signal, and this is divided into two parts, low frequency component with high scale and high frequency component with the low scale. First one is known as approximation and second is details. And this is actually 3-level decomposition, and most of the signal, 90 to 95 of the speech signal present in the low frequency component. And this is a comparison of 3 wavelets, HAR, Davishes 4, Davishes 40, and we conclude that Davishes 40 is best, gives best results for compression of long speeches. This is the flow chart of my proposed work. Audio recording 20. This recording of 20 minutes of Dr. Subhash Chandra show. Further, it is chunked into 10 equal parts of duration 2 minutes each. That 2 minutes each signal is compressed by using 2-level discrete wavelet transform, and that compressed signal is converted into frames, and further frames, each frame is passed through, features of each frame is extracted and further extracted by 2 methods again, discrete wavelet transform and teaser-caser energy operator, and speaker changes are dictated by using sliding window. Further, segmentation is improved by using threshold value. This is the original signal. First one, original signal, and samples equal to 9 into 10 to the power 6. That is number of samples, and it is further compressed to its number of samples becomes 2.25 into 10 to the power 6 something. It means compression ratio is 1:4, and further that converted into frames. And these are the outputs results. In that I have already told you, I have used 2 methods. First, without discrete wavelet transform, and second one is with using discrete wavelet transform. First one is without using discrete wavelet transform. There are actually 4 figures in this case. First figure is the output of teaser-caser energy operator, and second is output of sliding window, and third one is okay. And we actually concluded that whenever we use discrete wavelet transform, it gives much better results as compared to without using discrete wavelet transform. And these are the evaluation methods. F measure is used to evaluate this one. And this is the without using discrete wavelet transform, we get better. When we use discrete wavelet transform, we get better results as compared to previous one. And this is the conclusion. And finally, there is actually future scope. There are 2 challenges in speech processing: overlap speech detection and its handling, and second one is clustering of homogeneous speakers. These are the two challenges.
Any question
Thank
from the
you.
audience?
Thank you very much.
Tell me why you have used the compression ratio 1:4? If it is 1:6, 1:8.
No, actually I have gone through different levels. At level 2, I have actually got 95 to 99% of energy lies in the low frequency component in approximation coefficient. So whenever we increase our decomposition levels, energy reduces. So maximum energy where I have got, that level is actually I have chosen.
No, my question is, speech compression you've done 1:4.
Yeah.
Why not high? What is the effect?
Information is reduced. We can't able to extract that particular speaker.
Why only 1:4? What is the reason?
In that case, we can actually.
1:2.
That is also better, but length will be long, speech data will be long, system will be complex, and I have got it.
System will be simple. If you compress more, then I think you may lose the information.
Yes, more compression, more reduction in data. But in 1:4, there is actually 99% of information is present in the low frequency component. So I have chosen this level. I have actually gone through different levels. At level 2, I have got this results.
Next is Akshay Khurana.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Akshay Khurana. I am pursuing my MTech from the prestigious institute, DAVIET Institute of Engineering and Technology. So first of all, a thing I want to discuss is that my project is on distribution fields for robust object tracking. Object tracking in my case is basically for the CCTV cameras. But I have been in Singapore from last day before yesterday. But as I have landed on the airport, my thinking has totally changed as compared to India. So the major focus on this topic is that from last couple of years we have been facing lot of problems regarding CCTV cameras, number of crimes, number of ATM thefts that has been happened from last couple of years still are untraced. So the major throwback is that what is the problem with that CCTV cameras which has been deployed at every station, every ATM. So my focus is on that we rather to change the framing technology of the CCTV cameras. So I'll let you know. Okay, distribution fields, but I'll come to the explosion. Distribution field is basically an image. If you capture an image, you have to compress it and make it clear by actually converting into pixel by pixel, so that what actually the major problem or major thing you need to know about that. So first of all, we should the main problem with this CCTV camera is they are basically tracking the objects but not their motion, not their not their working on what actual movement the objects are being taken. So I have taken an example that if we capture an image, like sir is capturing my image. So if we want to detect what kind of motion I am doing or what I am going to do to the next level. So we first of all explode the image. Explode the image means to basically divide the image into number of layers so that we can differentiate it by pixel to pixels. So there is a formula Dijk is equal to 1 and Ij is equal to k is equal to 0. Ijk is for the xy axis and k is for the third axis, that is 3D projection, that we are human beings. If we want to basically capture some kind of objects, so we actually see 3D. So for the k is for the 3D purpose. So this is the basically diagram. First of all, I'll explain that the original image is 1, 2 and 3. These are basically pixels. Number 1, number 2 and number 3. These are basically pixels of an image, and we have represented it with white and black blocks. So the 1, 1, 1 in that first image, the layer 1 value with 1. Number 1 is exploded, so it has been turned into white block. And then we go to pixel number 2. The pixel number 2 is the MBC. here is 1, 1 and 1, 1. These 4 blocks are converted into white. So they are basically exploded. And then the value number 2, the 2 pixels are this one, these are exploded and turned into white position. And number 3, both 3 blocks are exploded into white. So after this, we have to operate a smoothing operation. Smoothing operation is that when you ever divide an image into different layers, there is lot kind of noise and disruption in that. So smoothing is the effect basically that is used to recollect the picture so you can identify the object and the matter exactly what it was. So in this case, we have pixel by pixel divided into that image into a after smoothing filter. We have used the Gaussian smoothing filters on that. And the framework of the algorithm. Algorithm have been used that previous algorithms say that patch initialization. First of all, capture an image, then generate a path of that, from where actually the image has come. Estimate region of the interest. What kind of object you are focusing on. Suppose I want to focus on this whiteboard, so I should capture on this only. And then matching the DF model. The DF model, the distribution field I have formed. We have to match with that and then update the target and give back information to the interest of region so that the actual object should be in that focus. Then what is basically the modification in that? Modification is that first of all we have to carry forward the previous process, but in the end choose the best match. There is a single picture, but you have divided into layers. So which would be the best match? You have to capture that and send that information back to the region of interest so that actual model should be in front of you. So major function which has been included in modified algorithm is scale invariance. Scale invariance is basically that we have target a window. Suppose there are number of pixels. If we are focusing on single pixel, you have to target a window so that it can capture a frame over that. Suppose there are 5 number of people standing in front of me. If I have to capture the extreme left person, so I will set a window frame on that person so that my recognition frame will capture the left person only. So that is the main thing. This is more innovative on this case. So this is an example. We have a can of Coke. We have basically given the main focus on this main part. What is the actual going on CCTV cameras? Main problem is to be solved over here. We have captured a can of Coke. We have to focus on, let us suppose this is the face of a person. So whenever we get zoom in option, but we can't clearly see what is that. So in my algorithms, I have got the result that I have basically given the full frame for the image, so that whenever a motion is given, if any person is walking through the CCTV cameras, so if that face is recognized, the full face and full object would be in a frame. Whether he comes close or whether he goes far away from that, he should be in proper frame so that the proper information about the theft or the proper information of person should be taken from that angle and every frame. So might be in coming time it should reduce the problem of these CCTV cameras.
Any queries?
Yeah, this technology is already available. I tell you, this algorithm. You can take full image of this hall, and you can extract particularly white shirt person who has wear the white shirt. So you can extract that image. So if you want to work on this, go on the IBM site. There is a people are already working on this.
Yes, ma'am, I got some information regarding that, but
you can get the information there.
Okay, for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next is Dr. Arvind Dhingra, the first bit modulation approach to current harmonic mitigation in the induction furnace.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Arvind Dhingra from Guru Engineering College, Ludhiana, India. And this is one of my research papers with my guide, Dr. Ashwini Kumar Sharma, who is in NIT Ketra. This is regarding pulse width modulation, and this is put in computation. Only some part is only the simulation part. That is where we have used the computers only. Else, it's basically to deal with the analysis part. Now, why do we need to mitigate harmonics and rotor harmonics? For the people who are not from the field of electrical engineering, I would just explain what is harmonics. Harmonics is a simple fundamental frequency multiple which creeps into the system due to the loads, varying loads like inductive loads or say capacitive loads, wherein we get that. And there are various standards which are available as per IEEE and IEC. They say that the current harmonic level should be less than 5% for the voltage class which we use here. If you take into account industries, they are using induction furnaces, induction motors, and all other inductive loads. These inductive loads are going to include the systems, pollute the system with current harmonics. So the topic was current harmonic mitigation. Non-linear loads like induction furnace, they are highly non-linear and tend to use power system problems in the power system. Current harmonics is one major problem. Number of custom power devices are available which can be used to mitigate the harmonics, and these can be connected either in series or in shunt. Pulse width modulation is one technique which can be used to mitigate the harmonics. How it is done, it is a technique to encode a sinusoidal signal to a pulsating signal so that it can be used to control the power supply to the electrical devices. The average value of voltage and current to the load is controlled by tuning this switch between the supply and the load on and off at a faster rate. The longer the switch is on as compared to the off period, the higher is the total power supply to the load. Now, we have used voltage source converter based on pulse width modulation technique, and we have used two techniques here. One is the sinusoidal pulse width modulation, and the other is the space vector pulse width modulation. I'll explain the difference as we go along. The sinusoidal pulse width modulation, here the desired output voltage is generated by comparing the desired reference waveform with a high frequency triangular carrier wave. We have a wave which we compare, depending upon whether the signal voltage is larger or smaller than the carrier waveform, either positive or negative DC bus voltage is applied to the output. Then in PWM it is seen that over a period of one triangular wave, the average voltage applied to the load is proportional to the amplitude of the signal. The higher the signal, the more it is, and the amplitude is assumed constant here. But the resulting chopped square waveform contains a replica of the desired waveform in its low frequency components, with the higher frequency components being at the frequencies close to the carrier frequency. The RMS value of the AC voltage waveform is still equal to the DC bus voltage, and hence the total harmonic distortion is not affected by the PWM process. The harmonic components are merely shifted to the higher frequency range and are automatically filtered due to the inductances in this. This is just a replica showing how it is done. Here is the carrier wave, triangular one. Here, this is the normal wave, and here is the waveform which we get. Now, once we use this on a MATLAB Simulink model of an induction furnace, we have got that the GHD spectrum, the total harmonic distortion has reduced to 5.68%. But IEEE standard says that it should be 5%, so we have got it at 5.66. So we need to improve upon it further. So we implemented the technique of SVPWM, which is actually a modulation algorithm which translates phase voltage, phase to neutral references coming from the controller into modulation times per duty cycles to be applied to PWM peripherals. This approach is based on control of currents projection on two orthogonal coordinates, directed quadrature DQ, and it is called as field rotation control. Now, SV stands for space vector, as I have already told, and it allows a three-phase bridge pulse width modulation drive to supply about 15% higher peak voltage to a motor than the standard sine triangular modulation. This was usually used for induction motors earlier, so this is for motors only. By aligning the neutral point of the motor to move away from the nominal half of the supply trajectory, The characteristic output voltage of an SP modulated sine wave is with a double hump on the peaks. SPPWM output is 15% more non-over-modulated than the voltage in the traditional pulse width modulation. So we have got a better control here. A three-phase two-level inverter with DC link configuration can have 8 possible switching states. We have 8 different stages which generates the output voltage of the inverter. Each inverter switching state generates voltage space vectors V1 to V6 active vectors, and there are 2 zero vectors in the space vector plane. The magnitude of each active vector is 2/3 of the DC bus voltage. The SPPWM module inputs the modulation index commands like U_alpha, U_beta, which are orthogonal signals, and the gain characteristics is given by equations with the normalized modulation index, which is given here. Then this is the 6-quadrant information. It's not very clear, but this shows how we can divide it into the total waveform into 6 quadrants, and we can get the different space vectors. We can use. Now with this approach, the THG content has come down to 2.75%, which is well within the limits as specified by IEE. And that's it. That is what I have for you. Thank you very much for providing your time. Any questions, please?
Any question from the audience? Can you explain how much percentage improvement?
Sir, we have reduced it in case of induction furnace. The THG present at point of common coupling was 27%. We have reduced it to 5%.
If you compare with the other methods?
If we compare with the other methods, only better method than this is the Z-source method. Z-source inverter, wherein we have converted it to around 0.7%. That is very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I would request Dr. Ajay to come and conclude the session, please.
Good evening to all of you. At the outset, I would like to congratulate all the presenters who have presented their papers. And before I comment on the papers as well as announce the best paper award, I would like to share a few things. That first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Manoj, and I would like to congratulate them because their team, they have organized this conference at Singapore, and I think this is the first conference which has been organized by DAV, even I think DAV committee. Yes, because this is the first institute who has organized a international conference outside India. So they must deserve a big round of applause from them. As there was 5 presenters who has presented their papers. The first was on security of health information and how the health information we can keep it secure, because presently there is online information, online data is there. So one doctor should not share your information or your medical data with rest of the doctors or even anyone. So that was presented in the first paper. Then the second was the prediction of currency exchange. So that was presented by the second author. Of course, it was presented nicely. And the third one was on the speech processing. That was presented by the candidate. And the fourth was the object tracking, how to track the object. That was, I think, a good idea, but I think it is already available and it's already implemented. So you can improve it. That's a good idea, but you have to implement it practically. And the fifth one was PWM approach for induction furnace. So still, I think a lot of improvement is required so that it can be a real kind of a research. So I would like to now declare the best paper award. I think that was the first paper which was presented by Samir. That is the security of information health.
All the conferences, this being the last session of the day, very excruciating to sit in the conference all through the day and then to keep on waiting and waiting for your time to come, and then suddenly when your name is called for making the presentation, then suddenly feel like that, where are you? Anyhow, so please bear with me for 8 minutes, Chairman sir. Okay, thank you so much. I will try to call it up well within 8 to 10 minutes. Okay. My topic of presentation is an appraisal of steel fiber reinforced concrete pavements. I suppose all of us are road users. We have been making use of the roads at probably major part of the day, each day. And what kind of roads we are traveling on? Most of the times the road which you look at, they are blacktop roads, black in color. But recently, all over the world, there has been a sea change as far as the type of the material to be used for road construction is concerned. That has changed to the cement concrete. I hope most of us are quite aware about what concrete is all about. Let me tell you that we say that water is the most consumed commodity all over the world. And do you know which is the second one? It is cement concrete. Cement concrete is the material which is used world over, and that is the second most used commodity. And we see that this is used for the construction of high-rise building and roads and dams and all that. And see, there is no depth of high-rise building as we see in here in Singapore. Okay. So my presentation is this with regard to specifically that how the concrete is used for the making of the pavements, and specifically it is concrete when it has been reinforced with fibers, steel fibers. You might be knowing about the reinforced cement concrete or the RCC, where see, concrete is very brittle material, and in order to reinforce this brittleness of the concrete, it is reinforced with steel bars in the tension zone. But this SFRC or the steel fiber reinforced concrete, this is entirely different concept. In this, the fibers of steel are mixed into the concrete in the dry state before water is added, and then accordingly the mix is prepared and used. So I have tried to present before you that what this concrete is all about. In fact, some of my students are doing research work onto this, and I have just put only the appraisal into this paper, not the data or the result, because still it is to be published. Okay, so let's see. So as I mentioned, the steel fibers and this use of fibers have been there to reinforce the brittleness of certain materials since time immemorial. So it has been used a number of times. And then what kind of fiber is to be used? Different types of fibers can be used for reinforcing the concrete, the carbon fibers, glass fibers. But the steel fiber has got its prominence because of many reasons. So if you look at the statistical behavior of the FRC, see, because of the addition of these steel fibers, the strength of concrete that enhances considerably, and especially we look at the flexure strength, which is much more required for making its use in pavements. This SFRC is a composite material which essentially consists of conventional concrete reinforced by random dispersal of short and fine steel fibers of specific geometry. So rather than putting in the steel bars, the short fibers of concrete, they are added, and it provides very good crack resistance and improved ductility and distinctive post-cracking behavior prior to failure. So these are some technical terms, I may skip that. And these are the types of the fibers which are put into concrete, different shapes and lengths and all that. Depending on their different characteristics, they behave a little bit differently. And with the search, we can always find out that which one is the better shape, length, and geometry of the fiber, which is more suited for a particular type of concrete. This is a very ductile material and very well suited for the structures which require resistance to impact, blast, and shock loads, and shrinkage control, and also the last point, the resistance to seismic hazards. And those structures which may be subjected to the earthquake loading during their lifespan, in those structures, this SFRC can be very, very useful material. But coming to the point, using SFRC for making roads only or the pavements, considering the importance of concrete in pavement construction. So concrete is very weak in tension, this you know, and in order to overcome this problem of concrete, it is SFRC is a very suitable material to be used for this purpose. It has got extra strength in flexure, fatigue and impact as compared to the plain cement concrete. And also, not only that you can construct the new pavements or the new roads with that, but over the existing roads, the overlays of SFRC, they can be used with great success. And it has been done at a number of places in India and abroad as well already. And this is how we work out that how the thickness of that overlay is to be determined. I mean, it's a very simple formula which has been specified in the Indian Road Congress publication, which is the standard publication for use of SFRC in our country. So this is IRC 58-2015, IRC-STEMPH'17. So this has been mentioned. If you make use of this formula, we see that there is a considerable thickness requirement of the pavement. And by doing so, the construction cost of the pavement that reduces considerably. So that is the great effect of using the SFRC. In case, of course, there will be additional cost of the steel fibers required, but that additional cost is very much offset with the considerable reduction in the thickness of the pavement. And in some cases, that reduction may be even, say, more than 40%. So that is there. So we are doing a lot of research onto that, and probably be publishing our work in about 6 months' time with regard to that. So the materials which are used, they are the ordinary material which are used for cement concrete plus the SFRC, the steel fibers. And how this fiber should be of this type, with their main, property being that of the aspect ratio. So the volume of fiber used may be vary between 0.5 to 3% of concrete volume. It's not that a huge quantity of fibers are required to be used, but just 0.5% to 3% maximum. And when we are mixing these fibers, the optimum quantity worked out that to be around 1.5 to 2% only. So that is not much, because otherwise also that extensive use of fibers more than this percentage are not going to be of any use, because then the balling effect occurs. Because the balling effect, the fibers start concentrating in a given area, and their whole purpose of adding that gets defeated. So roughly 2%, that is the optimum dosage for the fiber which can be added by volume to the concrete. And this aspect ratio 80 to 100, that is the length over diameter ratio. So about that has been found to be optimum one to get the very good strength properties. And then mix design. So like other concrete mix design, it can be done using the conventional method of design mixes. But it has got certain limitations also for pavements. It's not with regard to the strength part, but the other limitation with which the concrete pavements suffer. It has been found that the concrete pavements are far superior to the blacktop roads or the bituminous pavements in many aspects. And one of them is they are much longer life. The concrete pavements, their life is roughly in excess of 20 or 30 years without any major kind of maintenance. Whereas if you see the bituminous roads or the blacktop roads, they require maintenance every year. But the concrete pavements, since they are to be provided with the joints, so joints are to be provided. So there some problem is there, that if you do not maintain the joints well, the concrete pavements are not going to long last. So that problem will still be suffered by the SFRC pavement till such time we find some solution to that. And just to conclude that this application of SFRC as composite matrix is potentially very much advantageous from the viewpoint of making use of this material for the construction of the roads, especially in a country like India. Recently, you might have seen that a lot of road construction work is going on. None of this is new construction, but it is all widening of the existing roads. So many of the national highways, which are already 2 lanes wide, they are being converted to 4 lanes or 6 lanes. And whatever additional lanes are being added, so they are, most of them, about more than 80% of them are being added with the cement concrete material. But cement concrete is already being used, but if we can SFR to that, so that can give us a lot of economy of the construction. So presently, the cost of construction of 1 kilometer of national highway of 4 to 6 lane specification, that comes up to around 12 crores. But with this around 10 to 12% cost reduction can be made. So my point is that this SFRC can be a very good useful material for utilization in the construction of the payments. Thank you very much. Any question, please?
What will be the size of this payment? This is not my area, but
yeah. I mean, you are asking thickness?
Thickness and
yeah. Size of the pavement?
Size.
Size of the pavement?
No, they're not thickness, size. Length and width.
Length of the fiber you are asking, or the pavement?
See, okay. So as concrete pavements, earlier we used to provide extension joint every 4.5 meters. So there used to be a slab of 4.5 meter length, 3.5 meter wide, which is the one single lane width in India. And thickness was used to be around 150 centimeters. That, sorry, 15 centimeters. 150 mm. No. Now the expansion joints have been dispensed with. Now we no longer provide any of the expansion joints, so only the contraction joints are provided. Which are these saw cut joints? After the concrete has been laid, only joints up to 1/3 of the pavement they are cut and filled with the material, like bituminous material. So they are the deliberate points of weakness, so that the concrete doesn't crack. They are provided. So in a way you can say that the length of the pavement is as long as the length of the road is. Width is 3.5 meter, which is the width of one single lane. Every 3.5 meter you have to provide a longitudinal joint. And the thickness is in excess of 200 mm.
If you change the, you have shown the fiber,
yeah.
I think design,
yeah.
Right? If you change it, what is the impact on it?
Yeah, the main thing will be that whatever strength requirement is there, for cement concrete you require minimum of M40 grade of concrete for national highways. But in our work we have found it out that even you can achieve the desired flexural strength, that is flexural strength is distance to bending. So you can even achieve that much distance to bending with M20 grade of concrete, with the addition of just 2.5 set of fibers. So M20 grade of concrete is a much cheaper grade of concrete because it uses much lesser quantity of cement. So there lies the concept.
But curing requirement will be different.
No, it's the same. Absolutely, everything else is the same. No issue. Only workability problem is there. That with these fibers, the workability is. But now present days we have got the super processes available. With that, every problem gets solved.
So is there any impact of fiber design? If it is circular, if it is square, if it is triangular.
Yeah.
So what is the impact?
Yeah. I've shown the different shapes and sizes which are used for this purpose. Some are straight fibers, some are crimpled fibers, some are round-ish diameter fibers. So they do have some effect, but not. What we have found it from our work, they do not have much effect, but some effect definitely is there. But different type of fibers work differently in different situations. I mean, depending upon the constituents of concrete, cement, sand, aggregates, and all that. The things are different.
How do you ensure the uniform,
distribution? Yeah. That is a very good question because whatever we have done in the laboratory studies, we have found that around 2.5% that is optimum dosage, and when you start increasing it, the balling effect starts. Now, when you do the mixing in the laboratory, that is a different issue. But when you do it in a very larger scale in the field, that becomes a big problem. Yes, that problem is there, but that problem gets automatically solved when you are getting your concrete prepared in a mixed plant, RMC. So ready-made concrete mixed plants, they do not have any such problem. You just feed in the requisite amount of steel fiber content, and that will be thoroughly mixed. But only thing is that you have to mix the fibers before you add water. It is to be dry mix, then you add water, and then the SFRC that will be made. No problem with that.
Is it being used in India?
Concrete is being used extensively, but not the SFRC. Not the SFRC. So this concept is around 10-12 years old. So this IIC code that came around 6-7 years back. but probably we plan to make use of it on some trial basis. Yeah.
It will reduce the
Cost, yeah. Thickness of the pavement as well as the cost, because in the urban areas it will be of great help. Because in urban areas you keep on adding the thickness to the pavement because of the obvious reasons.
Can you use it for national highways also?
We can use it. We can use it for any type of highways. No problem. Even on the expressways. Okay, thank you very much.
The second presenter is Raj Kumar.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rajpur Singh from the prestigious DAVIET, and today's topic is development of route choice mode by optimization, travelers' behavior characteristics. Basically, what this means to design the roadways of the country depending upon the behavior of the driver, not upon the length or the traffic. Traffic condition in India is very poor actually. We have lots of with a 2-lane divided category and a 6 routes from point A to point B. In deliberate route choice, the driver makes his route choice based on the time, how much he will reach there, how much fast he will drive, and how expected and actual time will it take. He just estimates the time and drive according to it. And for the habitual person, some people take same route again and again, even that's long or even it's short. And the following are the 6 routes we showed you earlier, the 6 from the professional map, route 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6. They are between the point A and B, and the exact time 20 minutes, 12 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 16 and 21. Basically this means that a person traveling from the same route will take that much time to reach that destination if he can reach in 12 minutes because of the habitual behavior of him. These are the time travel in minutes and distance in kilometers. Basically all this matters is that if we construct roads based on the behavior of the person, they are going to reach in time and the risk factor of accidents are low. If we compare another thing is that people on working days drive very accordingly. They drive to take the shortest route. This is their behavior to reach on time. Whereas on Sundays or leisure days, they drive accordingly. They take long routes, which means the percentage of R5, which was the longest route there, it increases by 20% on day 7. And by which means in civil engineering works, it means that we should construct the roads on this basis, not upon the length or concrete, but based on the design of the person and analyze their behavior according to it. Thank you.
But behavior is always they follow the shortest path, no?
No sir, actually a person with the behavior of habitual behavior, he will always take his own path for many times. It's an actual route because he feels safe, so according to that route, it's a survey of that. It's based on the surveys as well as the route. The traffic is maintained by the people and the jams, so that's all.
It's very difficult to measure.
No, actually roads in Singapore.
Good afternoon to all. I'm Kanish Kapoor, Assistant Professor in Lovely Professional University, India. First of all, I will say big thank you to the organizer of the conference. Feeling very happy as I'm also an ex-student of DAVIET. My topic of the presentation is properties of recycled aggregate concrete made with beneficated recycled coarse aggregates. Like I will try to put more weight on the basics as we are from the multidisciplinary.
so that this presentation should be more information sharing than to run away with the results. I will be stick on the basics. Like my presentation is divided into introduction and why we need this research, what are the outcomes of the research, and then finally conclusions and recommendations. Like these are the different abbreviations I am used in my presentation. The most important is like RAC, recycle aggregate concrete, and RCA, recycle coarse aggregates. Now I will start with the self-compacting concrete. Now many of us generally come in the contact with concrete while we are building our houses or our areas, and generally we see a concrete which should be compacted with the vibrator so that we can remove the air from it. But in the case of self-compacting concrete, we don't need any vibrator to compact it, it compacts by itself. Then these are the different benefits of using SCC, like no bleeding, fast construction, no noise. Then what I am doing in my research, I am incorporating RCA, recycle aggregates, in the concrete and making a self-compacting concrete with the help of recycle aggregates. Now, firstly, recycled aggregate is totally a waste, like wood.
What is the reason that vibration is not required?
Sir, actually, if I put sand in the glass, some sand in the glass, and without shaking it, then there is a air in that glass, this same phenomena with the concrete. But if I put like any fluid in the glass, we no need to shake it because there is no air between the voids. Now with in the self-compacting concrete, what is we does, we make concrete as a homogeneous fluid and no need to shake it, it just go to the confined reinforcement and compact it by itself. This is the main idea behind.
Add more water in that?
No, we generally would not add water. We increase the fine aggregates, and with the help of our super plasticizer and the VMA, viscosity modifying agent, we increase the viscosity of the concrete and it became self-compacting. Now, why we are using RCA or recycle aggregates? Now, if this is the whole world is facing problem with the aggregate. Like if we are demolishing the earlier buildings and building the new one. In this process, the recycled aggregate or waste is generated, and this waste is generally we are dumping into the dumping grounds. As we all know, the price of the land increasing day by day, and it's difficult to find a dumping site to dump these aggregates. Like we are also demolishing our old homes and building the new one. What if we can use the same aggregate or same demolished part of our building to build a new one? And what is the effect of that? We have to spend no cost to buy the new aggregate, and our waste turns into wealth. Like India is also facing this problem. Now, first we classify aggregates. Aggregates are different types: natural, manufactured, recycled, and reused. My area of concern is that recycled concrete aggregate. When I define a recycled concrete aggregate, basically this is the natural aggregate and this is the adhered mortar. Actually, the thing is that when we use the natural earlier, the new concrete, in that there is only natural aggregate and cement mortar mix. But when after its life cycle, when we break it, now the new aggregate, or I can say the recycled aggregate, is the original aggregate that we used earlier. Now it is with the adhered mortar. Now this adhered mortar creates lot of problem because it has low strength as compared to the natural aggregate. Secondly, it is more porous than the second thing is that the bond between that adhered motor and the old motor and the new motor. Now there are two bonds, two IDs at. Then it is the weak portion. That's why we have to counteract it. Now I am concerning about this recycled concrete aggregates. Now this is generated to the end life cycle, urbanization, natural disasters. Now application of RCA, like we can use treated and untreated RCA both. But if we use the untreated RCA, what we can use in the bank protection, noise barriers, but our main concern to increase its value. So I try to use it in the structural concrete, to making a structural concrete of high grade. Like I use two benefited methods. One is soaking the aggregates in HCl, second one soaking them in the H2SO4. Now before proceeding to my research work, I go with the literature that I found. If aggregate is having adhered motor, then its absorption increases. If absorption increases, it will create problem. Then its difference in the abrasion resistance, aggregate crushing values, change in the compressive strength. Now if we are using 100% of the RCA, we generally see a range 10 to 35% decrease in the compressive strength. Now that's create a problem. Like if we need, if we need a building which can support 100 pupils, 100 person can stand on a roof. But if we use recycle aggregate, if we take a 35%, that means only 65% person stand on that roof. Now this is the decrease in the compressive strength. Now I have to counteract this so that we can use it as well. Now my research objective, first, generally I see in the literature single data has been generated on the durability properties normally vibrated concrete. That we're talking about that is generally used in the market. But very little or no information is available for the durability properties of SCC made with RCA. But as a little information is available, but I go one step further to use a benefited RC. Now in my experimental program, I used 43 grade of cement coarse aggregate. Now this one is the natural aggregate, this one is the coarse RCA. Now you directly see this mortar color, grey color of particles. Then I use fly ash. Now then admixtures. I use super plastics linear 51 and viscosity Z, as I am talking about how we increase the viscosity of concrete by using that VMA. Now this is the preparation of aggregates. Now these are the big chunks of the concrete. Break them into the jaw pressure. Then we have this RCA and use that sheaf shaker to get the different sizes of RC, so that we can add different sizes of aggregate into a particular concrete so that our maximum voids can be filled. Now we soak that particles into first HCl and second H2SO4. That I see the mortar removal is more in the case of H2SO4 as compared to the HCl. Now what I do to compare my results, first I take the natural aggregates and compare one with the similar grading to the RC so that we can easily compare the results. Now then what I do, I go for a many number of trials so that we can get a workable good SCC mix that we can use in our new concrete. Now different mix like slump flow test, L-box test, B-funnel test, J-ring test. Now after getting so many of trials, I get with this combination of mix so that this mix is 100% defining the category as per FNAC. Now series 1, when in the next part of the presentation, when we are talking about series 1, it only contains NCA, that means natural coarse aggregate. Second, untreated RCA. Third, HCl benefited RCA. Fourth one, H2SO4 benefited RCA. I done these all tests on natural ones so that we can compare the results that where we are standing. Now for compressive strength results, I take 3 values as representation. For one value, I done 3 tests so that there is a less fluctuation in the results. Now, what I see when in the case of RCA, we get strength about 40 MPa. Similarly, same RCA at 28 days, if I replace natural one with the recycled one, my strength decreases by 18.5%. Now, it's a big decrease. Now, what I do, I benefited it with the SCL, and what I see, now the results are better, but still 11.5% less than as compared to the natural one. Then the second technique, H2SO4. Now, these are good as the decrease is only 7.8%. Like earlier I gave example, if I design a roof for 100 people, now almost 93 or 92% can stand as compared earlier 100. Now these are the good results as we are using the whole of RCA. Now these are totally recycled aggregates. Then after the compressive strength, as I do the durability results. That is water permeability results. In that results, what we do, I take the cube and put here and apply a water pressure for 72 hours. And after 72 hours, we take that cube out and split the cube by this method and note the water penetration. Now, as I earlier told you, this is the problem. Adhered mortar. This is porous, and if water pressure is applied with the RC aggregates, the permeability is more. Then these are the results. If we use RCA, 100% RCA as a replacement of natural aggregates, there is an increase of 33% permeability. Then for SCL, it reduces to 14.8, and for H2SO4, the permeability increases only 7.4%. That means, now this is a reverse thing, as we need higher compressive strength, but we need lower water penetration. The water penetration is around 7.4% more. Now then again, it confirms we can use that recycled aggregate in our concrete. Then I do another durability test, that is capillary suction test. In that, this test goes up to 9 days. We put them on the water and check the capillary rise of the water for 9 days. And what we see, again with the help of H2SO4, the rise is only 10.9%. Again, a stamp that we can use RCA here as well. Now, coming to the conclusion, coming with a self-compacting concrete made with cycle aggregate having high durability condition is like hitting 2 aim with one stone. First, we have benefits of self-compacting concrete. Second, we are using a waste to the wealth. Third, next, recycle coarse aggregate benefited with H2SO4 performs better as compared to the RCA benefited with SCL. Now, next time, what is my sole purpose of presenting this? Next time we are demolishing our old house to build a new one. We can consider that demolished part to the concrete. Okay. Thank you so much. Any questions?
We add plastic, waste plastic.
Yes, we can. We can. But studying the inclusion of plastic and RCA is totally different. Now, one of my ChemTech student is working on that use of plastic in that concrete. Now we can add plastic by 2 ways. First, we can cut the plastic in the fiber, as sir is telling about the steel fiber. My student is working on cutting the waste plastic PET bottles to get that fiber, as steel fiber is, we have to purchase it, but that plastic fiber, we can take the waste bottles and put them into the grid. But I am waiting for the results as the work is going on. Second, what we can do, we can add that waste plastic in the form of aggregate as well. But another student working on that aggregate, what he's doing, they just burn the plastic. We see after burning of the plastic, it collects like a hard ball. After that, we break that ball to get the aggregate. I am using that aggregate in the research. That maybe next time we are here, I will present that paper as well.
But when we burn it makes more some pollution.
Yes, but
environmental.
exactly. Now we are working on that. Like we are not burning them.
We just say we banned it.
We are not burning directly. Actually, we make a furnace out of it. Like in the oven, the big ovens we are in the civil engineering laboratory, we can melt it there. Yes.
We can mix the chemicals, like you cut the small part, then you lay a roll or whatever it may be. Then you heat that roll with some kind of arrangement. So automatically it will be heated.
Also, there is a problem with that. We need to that part material that will mix in the concrete. That will perform better. If we melt it afterwards, then there are two different materials.
And what about water permeability? You put plastic with this. Plastic you are putting the bitumen which you are using. Yeah. So what will affect the water permeability also?
It will not have enough bond.
Bonding will not be there.
Steel fibers, yes, they have bonding.
Plastic, you mentioned that there are certain different
polythene and actually they are adding it to roads.
But the people are making roads out of the waste plastic. Almost in the same level.
They are adding it to bitumen.
No, they are not putting acid. They are not putting acid.
Yes.
Making the road out of
Yes. Actually, generally we have to wash it with the water. My topic is different. I am fine and post RC in the assessment, making assessment. My whole
in order to bring that to the level of sand, how much cost is it?
Is to drop the pressure. Evaporator. We use this evaporator. We use the fin type evaporator. Evaporator section from where we can get the cooling effect.
to increase the effectiveness of the heat transfer of evaporator at turbine while also given internal feed. In this system, liquid refrigerator is changed to into paper. We use the evaporator section of window AC. We do not use the evaporator section of the refrigeration system. These are the copper tubes. Resistant corrosion, we know the property of the copper tubes. Thermostat. Thermostat is used to maintain the temperature, and we maintain the temperature of the refrigeration system up to 6 degrees Celsius. Condenser. We use the forced air cooled condenser here. This condenser is of window AC. We did not use the condenser of refrigeration AC. Refrigeration started. This is the main part, working principle of refrigeration section, air conditioner section and water chilling section. Both we make the device in which the both perform in a single device.
Hello, I would like to explain the working of this our project. First of all, let me clear that this is our final year project, and we try to make this project context than the existing all the refrigeration project. So the contracts that we make in our project is that all the three devices like the water cooler, refrigerator, and air conditioning we are making into one setups. That's why we can enjoy this all the three chiller device into a setup. So that I would like to elaborate separately. Refrigerator sections. In case of our domestic refrigerator, we can see that there is the R134 name of refrigerant used usually. But in our project, we use the refrigerant R22. So that first happen, we can get the cooling effect is so much good, and our COP of refrigerator is near about efficient. So that this refrigerator in this our project is efficient. After that, air conditioning section, we can see that this is our final year project. We made it in this at the bottom side we have installed the two fans, and the upper side we make the one hole, suction holes, so that the hot happen in the hot airs in the room sucked by this fan, and this hot air flow through this upper suction hole, and this hot air from the rooms is impinged on the evaporator section installed inside the door, and this hot air is chilled and comes through the two fan that is installed at the bottom side of the air conditioning section. So that sir, in case of any halls or any conditioned space where we have to make the air conditioning system, so that at the upper portion density of any hot air is low, so that the hot air is maintained at the upper part, so that we have installed this suction hole at the upper part, so that the hot air can suck easily from this section. Upper part, yes. Cold layers, we know that the cold layers having the density is much higher than the in considered with the hot air, so that it maintains in the up to the heights that side where the lives or any human beings can be stay, so that up to that position from this project we can maintain the chill air. Thereafter the water cooler sections. In our this final year project, the water cooler section is having the greatest brilliant idea, in which we make the round copper tube, and this round copper tube is installed behind the evaporator section that we can see, which is installed in front of the refrigerator section. So that what happens, you can see that there is the tap which is installed beside the refrigeration section, and upper portion on the refrigerators we install the water tank, so that what happens, from this water tank water enter into this cooling copper coil which is installed behind this evaporator section, and this hot air from upper tanks flowing this coil, and we can easily get the chill water from this tap. So this is the water cooler sections in this our project. Next, this project having the future scope like in the rural area, we can see in the India maximum rural area, villages area, where we can see that the coolers or refrigerators only used in the summer season. So that after that, because of the maximum electricity problems, they make the make up for another season. So that we are making these projects, the objective of making this project is same for using this rural area or like this conference or any other offices who can use this project. So the conclusion is that we obtained the COP, coefficient of performance from this project is about a 4.12 by using the refrigerant R22. Thank you so much. It's around 15,000. Yes. And if you consider the three different objects like the air conditioning or refrigerator and water coolers, it's going around going up to the 85,000 rupees. But we are making this project because we save the cost and electricity too.
What is the height of this whole thing?
Over setup. It's like a domestic refrigerators, what you can say, around the 5 feet. Yeah, but in our project we make this actually.
You just said the hot air is like outside.
Yes.
For like it can suck all that hot air from this much height.
Yes, because the suction hole we also provided at the topmost position, so that the objective of this same like that. What you, sir asked me question about that. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to present my paper in front of Director NIT Delhi. It's really an honor. And you to have the displays. Sir, it's all about the utilization of waste tire fibers and granular soils. A lot of waste is being generated in society in different forms. It's decomposable, or it is not being consumed by microorganisms. But one of the problematic area these days in civil engineering is the vehicles are increasing. The number of tires after the useful life we have to dispose of. This is a bigger area, bigger problem and challenging in the developing countries. And this similar kind of study we have undertaken. Perhaps we have forgotten the epics of Ramayana and the Gita and whatever the sages have told us. In the ancient times as well, they were using the locally available material. Right? When we talk about Lord Rama, when the Setu Nirman was to be done, they had no cementing material. They had nothing, no bricks and all that. They had used the all locally available materials, like this stone. When he takes the arrow out, वो वापस धनुष्मान में नहीं जा सकता और वो कहते हैं कि अब ये तो जाएगा, अनुसंधान इसका हो चुका। तो वो जो पहाड़ उस समय टूटता, उसके जो splinters हैं, they were being used as the stones. But the stones, they were to put on the water, ocean. The tides are there, waves are there. There should be something which should tie them together. But at the same time, they had the trees and the trunks. If you look at the top of Lord Rama, there is one tree. There is one tree. And for joining the stones together, they had used the trunks and the roots and the branches of the trees for the stones to, get together, so that they don't go away with the waves. So in the ancient times as well, this concept of soil reinforcement was there. Soil means soil or stones, it was there. Perhaps the modern civilization, they have forgotten this aspect, that what is the use of using the locally available material. Similar kind, Kanish was also telling how to use the recycled material. So perhaps we need to go to the ancient times and to understand what the concept is all about. When we are talking about, this is the Ram Setu by NASA. It is a fact, it's a historical fact that NASA has given these pictures that Ram Setu existed. And if we talk about the designs, yes, we are talking of the green design. Whenever we try to incorporate anything, that takes care of any waste generated in the society into some kind of designs, we call it as green designs. And this is the statistics, how many vehicles state-wise they are there. The registered vehicles till 2011. 170 million tires they are being generated in the last decade, and if we take the projection for 2021, 360 million tires we are anticipating that they will be generated. And after useful life, what to do with it? And in Punjab, in our areas, they have the habit of burning it. They burn it, for whenever the slab construction is going on, they have the habit of burning it, adding some greenhouse gases to the environment, which is so dangerous for the sustainability aspect. Now, this is the local seeds. When you go to the dump market, either they are dumping, and when they are dumping like this, it becomes the breeding places for the mosquitoes, and they are spreading epidemics. Dengue, very frequent in northern part of India. This is the basic reason that you don't have the disposal areas. This is the, across the globe, they are dumped like this. See, and as far as the opportunity, the threats they are concerned, you have the fire risk when you use the stockpiling, your quality of air gets polluted, human health unsightly. We have the opportunities if we do the SWOT analysis. We do have the opportunities. These are, and you can use it in your trenches. People are already using it on the harbor areas. You can put it during the pavement constructions. This is again the harbor area where the bales have been used, and as far as the banks of the river, they are concerned because a lot of erosion is there when the currents are more. So you can use the same and the used tires as the banks. In the coastal areas and the ones as we were discussing for the pavement construction. Already in US there is a Phoenix area, they are using it, but they are using in bitumen. These are the, again, roads of Phoenix area. In UK, such type of retaining walls they have come up with using, the waste tires. See, these are and they have been used in concrete as well. And as for the general tire properties, there's a technical literature, which says that they are beneficial. They can be made use of in concrete as well as in soil as well. Literature review as well as the soil. So the present study, it focuses on how much fiber should be added, what should be the quantity, and what should be the aspect ratio that we should use so that the maximum benefits they are harnessed. And no. Tires have been used along with the soil. And in Brazil, when they were using it, you have to take care of, like say the landfills. In Delhi, they have gone up. No. I mean, you have to see what kind of waste and what kind of granular material you are putting in the soil, because in Brazil, there was fire. There was fire in the retaining wall, what you are asking. I mean, if from a particular, limit, you try to increase the height of this one, it may catch fire. But that is why, instead of the whole tire, they are saying cut it into some sizes, come to the, in terms of shreds, and then you try to mix it and use it, so that it doesn't catch fire. And that is why they have, the codal specifications are coming in US also, which limits the height of the retaining walls. Up to what height you can go. Like in Delhi, sir, what's going on? I mean, on the outer skirts of Delhi, they are coming, they have already, landfills where the whole, the solid waste disposal they are dumping. But up to what height they'll go? Another question, what height? There's another paper, but because of the paucity of time, I will not be in a position. The question as on date is, India doesn't have enough space, like Jalandhar. A lot of fight is going on between the MLA Pargat Singh and the government. Government is not giving up the land. They are not giving the land for STP. Now, even the existing, now the Delhi, you have the landfill area. Up to what height you will go? You need to circulate whatever the leachate you are getting. You need to circulate so that the maximum aerobic and anaerobic conditions are being generated, and the methane gas you get like gas. Again, the methane gas is greenhouse, but you need to collect it, or otherwise also it will go into atmosphere. But you certainly cannot go beyond a particular height of these landfills. Like Dr. Datta, you must be IIT Delhi. He has designed in Surat, landfill in Surat. What he has done, whatever the leachate collection is there at the bottom, you try to put it from the, from the top again, either in the spray fashion or through a tubular pipe that goes inside, and whatever the activated sludge from the sewage treatment plants you are getting, you try to mix it so that it's enriched with bacteria. Bacteria, they cause aerobic action, and the downward it's all anaerobic. So by the process, what you're getting is, you're getting the settlements. The whole biodegradable materials, they are getting into methane directly. No, it cannot. It cannot kill the plastic. Plastic is the gray area. Plastic is a problem. Similarly, this is non-biodegradable. That is why I am anticipating that you try to deal with some engineering using like this. So, in this area, what material, see, this is my PhD topic as well. What has been done is, in order, lot of literature is available when you try to cut your, the full size tire into shreds. But there was hardly any research paper which says that whatever Dr. Agarwal, Sanjeev Agarwal was telling, I'm in steel fiber. I have tried my level best to cut this fiber. Sanjeev sir, I have tried my level best to cut this fiber to the, the minimum size. Though I couldn't get what steel fibers are available as on date. But the thickness of this one is just 1 to 1.5. It took us 1.5 years to get this fiber done. And they all have been done manually. Whereas in US, you have the shredders. You fix the size and they'll get you the size. Whereas in India, there are no shredders. And that is why the research is not coming up. But I'm tying up with some of the agencies like IIC Bangalore and all that. We are trying to come up with the shredder to some kind of solution so that this kind of, the problem is taken care of in future, in the days to come. So what I have done, the 3 aspect ratios I have used, again, this is filling tank, and this machine also, sir, we got it fabricated in the geotechnical lab, where, through ML we come up, because we had nothing, how to check out the stresses and strains. So we have come up with this machine. So, we have checked out the bearing capacity improvement before and after. One soil, you have not added anything, and the second one, a different kind of fibers. Then you try to check up in terms of bearing capacity ratio and settlement reduction ratio. Settlement reduction ratio, when you try to put it, sir, settlements will be slightly more when you are adding. What? From geotechnical earthquake point of view, they can take the largest strains. Whenever earthquake is there, because of the elastic nature of this fiber, they can hold larger strains without failing. This is added advantage.
So instead of fibers, if we cut them into granular size.
But then the void ratio will be more. People were using shreds of, this one, because soil has only two properties. Either it has clay from where the bearing capacity is coming, either it has the cohesion or friction.
But when you use sand with the bitumen.
Sand with the bitumen.
And spray over this, all these granular forms.
That's right.
Tires.
Yeah, this is what they have done in.
Fill the gaps.
Very right. This is what they have done in Phoenix area, which I was showing you. In Phoenix, what they have molten it with the bitumen itself, and then they spray it there. Already they are doing it. Separate layer. Layer of this one, so that recirculation is there. They are not sending it out. Already in Ohio and Ottawa, they have come up with the code specifications. You cannot throw your used tire outside. Neither you can, sell it outside. There is an agency in US and Ottawa in Canada. You have to go to them and just hand it over. That this is the used tires. You cannot throw it outside like in our country where you can't do it.
No, that is CRM is being used in India as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that is in the crumb form. Yeah, crumb rubber is being used.
Does it fall into the category of hazardous?
No, there is one French fellow who has done his PhD Telford. He has already come up with that. What are the leachate after putting it? If you try to analyze all the BOD and COD of the percolating water, doesn't have any effect.
No, what I'm asking is like there's a pollution control department.
Yeah.
Does it come under the control of purview of the pollution control department? How you are disposing of the old tires?
So far, it's not. So far, I have not seen any of the regulations. But
just like e-waste and oils, they all fall under hazardous environment clearance.
Yeah.
Does it come? That's what
I have not seen in the PPCB or pollution control board. I have not seen anywhere. We have certain, as Dr. Agarwal was telling, SFRC. For DAV University, we tried our level best. When we went to the basement, we tried our level best FRC. But the question is, there are no codes available, number one, or there is no CSR or DSR, there is no rate mentioned. You have to go for non-scheduled items. So that is a gray area you have to work with. How many non-scheduled items you are going to work with? So similarly, these are the areas, these are the technical ones.
Machines to make the fibers out of old tires? There are no machines available? Tires are ready. In fact, firstly one should come up with a machine.
Yeah, that's right.
Design of the machine which should cut it into the fiber.
That's right.
Sir, I remember in my BTech project I am running on the sir, we are used to cut with the scissors and we sit in the night to cut that. And it's
That's what I'm saying. There's a chance for the mechanical engineering people actually to come up with this.
That's right. Even sir, the cobblers. Sir, they are the BTech, they were the BTech students. They were working day and night. Even the cobblers, they denied. We cannot do it. It's very hard one. We cannot cut it. So, but anyhow, these are the technical details, how the pressure and at what, the bearing capacity ratio.
Concluded.
Right, sir. These are my conclusions. Thank you very much. It's going to be very fruitful and beneficial once you try to do it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just let me add one point.
Sir.
There is a lot of difficulty in studying this because the tires contain the steel condensers.
Yeah.
That's the main problem of getting them studied.
That's right. Agree.
Dr. Nawaz to conclude the session.
So, for your information, we had 5 papers in this session of civil and mechanical, 4 papers from civil engineering and 1 paper from mechanical. The first one was by Dr. Sanjeev Agarwal, an appraisal of using steel, fiber, reinforced concrete for payments. Wonderful idea, wonderful this one, the idea you have given. I would like to request you that since you are on the panel of the government on so many committees, kindly get it incorporated into some, so that it comes to CSR of Punjab CSR. Kindly, it was wonderful. Then the second paper was by Raj Kumar, development of route choke model by optimizing travelers' behavior. Then the third one was by Mr. Kanish Kapoor on recycled aggregates. My further suggestion with this Kanish to include the cost aspect also into your processing. Then from mechanical side, 3-in-1 maneuver, utilization single vapor compression refrigerator cycle by Pratik and Chetan, and the fifth one was by the speaker himself. So, with this hope that the information being shared by you proves to be very fruitful in the days to come, and let's hope in the days to come, in the very near future, NTU invites us that we are going to hold one international conference in DAVIET itself. Kindly collaborate with us. Just think that way. So, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Best paper award, according to me. Application-wise, it's Dr. Sanjeev Agarwal, and then experiment.
So I believe this is a great day. All of you have shared the research experience and result to let others know. Particularly this conference is multidisciplinary. It's not on one topic, but different areas, so that I believe everybody can learn something from others. So that, of course, again, it's an opportunity for you to make friends. Although majority from one college, but some others come from the other universities in India and other parts of the world, like Egypt and the UAE and Taiwan, the professor over there. So that I believe you may know somebody during this day. You are welcome to, and I hope that you enjoy this day of the experience. So hopefully this NTU will give you some impressions on the further collaboration and research promotion. This is what I want to say. Anyway, this is a great day for all of you, including me, so that hopefully you may keep me your match. Okay, we'll see you somewhere, someday in the future.
I would like to invite Dr. Manoj to make a vote of thanks, please. Please.
Well, finally we come to the end of session on day one. It was a great opportunity to be with all of you this day. In all, this conference invited delegates from 9 countries. It was great to have people from Egypt, UAE, Japan, Thailand, Taiwan. Wonderful experience. And people were very involved throughout the day. It didn't matter whether you are coming from that background or discipline. People were fully engrossed, asking questions and learning. As Mr. Ma also said, normally we are in the habit of having a very focused and target-specific, domain-specific conference. But it's always a learning to be a part of a multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary kind of conference, because then it lends you an opportunity to see what work other people are doing and where you can integrate with other people working in their domains. Because now we are living in a kind of era where you cannot really afford to confine yourself to your discipline alone. we have to cut across the boundaries and get ourselves involved in interdisciplinary kind of research. Now the countries, they are also merging their boundaries, opening the trade sectors with other countries. Similarly, in work also, we also need to cut across, because we can't be very stringent that this is my area and I'm going to work there only. But because at one day, this will open a new window of research for all of us. It was a great time to be here in Singapore, and I'm sure the whole effort could not have been possible without active involvement of my colleagues. I'm particularly very thankful to Dr. Sudhir, convener of the conference, and the co-conveners of this conference, Dr. Neeru Malhotra, Dr. Jagjit Malhotra, and Dr. Vinay Chopra. They have given their 100% to make sure that all of us could see this day in Singapore. They've all worked very closely with Mr. Chetan Sikka. He has been at our beck and call, and he also made us work hard. Because every time we used to talk to him, we were all very particular that since we have organized this kind of conference, we must get a good response. And all of us have been backing each other very well and really supplementing and complementing our efforts so that we could make this day really very fruitful. And I'm especially very thankful to all the colleagues and the delegates who have come with families. It's been a great effort. I'm so very thankful to the General Chair, Dr. Ajay Sharma. He's also come with family. I'm really very thankful to all of you. And it was a great day. And I'm sure, Dr. Ma, in future we will have more areas to work with closely. And we will take this platform to a next level in future. Thank you very much, all ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So I think it's thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.